Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'm talking about the journey of us going through our engagement and committing to a lifetime together. I'm going to talk a little bit about misogyny, I'm going to talk a little about the emotional weight that women have to carry and what's really going on in a male perspective of that process and how we worked through it together and the give and take that had to happen between us in that process and that journey. So today's makeup product is this lippy look. I used two products. The first product that I'm going to use is the NYX Retractable Lip Liner in the shade Sand Beige. This is going to go on my outer lips, and I'm going to start at my cupid's bow. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to do on the other side. I overdraw my lips just a tiny bit. What I love about this one is I don't need a sharpener. I just twist and it gives more product. So it saves a lot of time. Okay, so that's the outer lip. On the inside of my lips, I'm going to use the Morphe Color Pencil in the shade Backseat Love. It's a little bit of a lighter pink. And I'm just going to do the inside. This one is a pencil, so you do have to sharpen it. But it is very pigmented. And you can see the color difference there. And you just mix it. It makes it very seamless. Super cute. Morphe Color Pencil in the shade Backseat Love. Great, so those are the two products for this lippy look, and let's get started with the video. So we got engaged around 7.5 years that we've been together, and we have gone through a lot in those 7.5 years. Okay, let me just run down a few of them. Got one, we survived long distance. We survived university. We poured into ourselves individually with our individual interests. Keith loves baseball. I had more in my relationship with dance. Keith loves science. I love video production, media production. We survived getting our first adult jobs together. We renovated a part of the house together. And renovations is a huge, huge challenge in relationships. We have done individual emotional work, going into therapy and really unlearning toxic behaviors from our childhood. That's an ongoing process. It's going to be a process that we'll have to live with for the rest of our life, that we have to do every day. We have been all different sizes together. We've been fat, we've been fit, we've been neutral, we've been all over the scale in terms of physical health, and we continue to find the best, healthiest versions of ourselves. So 7.5 years. So we were 16, 17, and it was around 24, 25 when we got engaged. And so those years are very, very important when it comes to an adult evolving and finding themselves. That is a very, very important period in young adulthood. So that is a lot that we navigated, and we did it together, and we did it in a way that honored each other individually and also really mirrored the raw truth of our childhood patterns and the family dynamics that we grew up in. And sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes you don't want to see that. You want to avoid it. You don't want to walk through the fire. And we have always been leaders in that aspect of just walking through the fire, regardless of what people say, what people think, to really set the tone of our dynamic too. I had prom first, And so I set up a promposal to ask Keith to go to prom with me. I choreographed to a Beyonce song. I had some of our dance friends perform it, and I had Keith's childhood baseball friends perform it too. And so it was a huge flash mob. It was at school in the courtyard. It was during one of those like lunch breaks. I think it was during lunch. And it was beautiful. I mean, we just had a whole flash mob and it was all for Keith and I coordinated all of it. And I had his friends and they had little t-shirts and we did the t-shirts with the letters. And so all of it was organized, choreographed, produced, directed by me. And so I mean, it was a very impactful proposal, and so promposal, and so Keith was up against that. Okay, that was when we were 16, 17. Okay, when I were at that time when we were getting engaged, we were around 24, 25, and so that was what Keith was up against when it comes to proposing to me. Okay, and this is where it gets a little toxic, and I'm gonna say it because it's true, and it is the truth of dynamics when it comes to being in a committed relationship between a man and a woman. And especially when Keith and I both came from dysfunctional childhoods and we didn't have the best examples of healthy love between our parents and our sibling and family dynamic. We didn't have good examples. And so this is the truth of what it is, because people want to hide this. People would want to not share it because it doesn't make people look good. But I want people to know that if you come from dysfunctional homes, that you can choose and build healthy relationships if you choose to own the fact that you learn dysfunctional behaviors and toxic behaviors, and you have to act on those in order to see them for what they are and grow from them. Okay, so this is what happened. Okay, so at this point I was like, I need Keith to do something, and I'm worried because Keith, when he goes quiet and when he is in his head, it's not good because he gets anxious and I don't know what's going on in his brain, and then he shuts down, and then he can get depressed. And so there's a lot of concern, and then there's a lot of what does that mean for me? But I know Keith, he would want to do the big and extreme for me. And so, and I know that if he can't do the big extreme, then he's not gonna do the proposal, because he struggles with perfectionism. Okay, we both do. And so I know Keith in his brain, he's like, I'm not gonna propose unless I can give her what she deserves, and what she deserves is a big thing, and because he thinks that his stuff is not good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what's going on. Keith's brain is like, whatever I choose to do, it's never going to be as good as what Annie deserves. Okay? And so I don't even want to do it. And we would be waiting forever for Keith to be ready to do this, right? Because Keith thinks that whatever he does is not good enough. Okay? That's set in stone. Okay? In my brain, I'm like, well, I do deserve a big thing. I do. I do. But it's because you don't believe in yourself, right? If you were confident in doing what you wanted to do and be like, this is my love, this is it, and you were unapologetic about it and saying, this is me, you can accept me or you don't, then I would be okay with that. But it's the fact that he wants to do this that is making me be like, okay, then let's do this. I can passively help you with this, right? So it's this belief that what Keith can do is not enough. So he wants to do this. So then I'm like, okay, let me help you if you want to do this, because I do deserve it. But also, you should also believe that what you give is just as equal to this. And I can't advocate for you thinking that this is enough, because your confidence needs to come from you. Okay? I'm not gonna be like, oh, you got it. Because then he's gonna be like, okay, then I can do this. And where's the source? Me. The source is me. That's not self-confidence. That's confidence built on validation from somebody else. That's external. Okay, that's not real confidence. So I'm like, I'm gonna let you choose whatever you want to do. And he's like, okay, well, I'm set on wanting to give this to you because you deserve this. I'm like, okay, this is how men lead their life, by the way. Okay, this thing that men need to understand is that Whatever you want, people will support you. Okay? So if you think this is what you need to do, then people will support you in that. And then they'll be like, well, this is not what I wanted to do. And now it's your fault because you made me. Bitch, if you said you wanted to do this, bitch, I would support you in this. But you say you want to do this. So now you're going to act like victim and say it's me. Like, we should have been here. So, yeah. Anyways, time passes and I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know if there's any development happening. And I know Keith, like, Keith is not a planner. Keith is not a planner. I know this man deeply. Like, Keith and I know each other deeply. Okay? And me, I know what he gonna do before he know what he gonna do. And him, he know what's going on with me before I even know what's going on with me. Sometimes. Sometimes. And so, I'm like, I already know this dude is just avoiding it. Like, he don't even want to plan because he's not a planner. And it's just triggering the insecurity of, I'm not going to be able to give this to her. And he's, insecure about that. So he's trying to figure out how to deal with that. He can't deal with it alone. And he struggles with asking for help. So I'm like, this is the story of the life of men. It's exhausting. And it's honestly pathetic. And they know this too. That's the thing that pisses me off, is men know that it's pathetic. And they still just and go through it alone. And then they need a pity party and say, but it's just me, and it's just so hard, and I just need help. And I'm like, if you chose to get your confidence from yourself, then you wouldn't need a woman to build you up. Anyways, so time passes, and then I finally see that he bought the ring. And I was like, oh, what ring did you get? And so I look at the ring. Yes, I know. Call me whatever. Call me crazy. Call me controlling. Call me whatever you want. I saw the ring and I was like, oh, okay, cute. It's a cute ring. And I saw like the dimensions and stuff. And I was like, it's cute. When is it coming? Yeah, it's cute. And I made a paper ring, you guys. I made a paper ring with the dimensions. Because it was like on its way. It wasn't here yet. So I made a paper ring and I put it on my finger. And at this point, I'm already frustrated because how am I going to believe in you more than you going to believe in yourself? And so at this point, I'm like, okay, and then I need to protect myself. And I'm like, is this even something that is worth me? Girl, I will give you the world. So I'm like, is this worth me? And that's the thing, is that women are guided by a man's emotional health, emotional well-being, emotional strength. Okay? I'm at a point where I don't even know if I trust you emotionally anymore because you've completely abandoned yourself. And so now it's all up to me. So now I have to make the decisions. That's the thing with straight committed relationships and marriages, is that when a man abandons himself and loses confidence in himself, and his confidence doesn't come from internal, it's all external, his emotional well-being, his confidence is not stable. And so what that does to a woman is that we have to overcompensate for his lack of confidence or emotional stability. And so not only are we giving ourselves what we deserve, which makes us look very independent and very successful on the outside, we also have to take on that emotional labor of stability. And that's a lot on a woman. And if a woman does it for too long, it comes to a point where a woman's like, why am I even dragging this dude along? Okay, it gets to that point. And I personally think that a lot of marriages, the reason why divorce is that way, it's because that's the reason. Men don't learn how to get their confidence from within. They have learned to get it from external validation, and they've given that emotional burden onto the woman for so long term, to the point that women just believe that she can do it on her own, and she's done it on her own for so long. And so there's really nothing that this man is really providing her, right? And so that's the truth. And so at this point, I'm like, that's what was happening in this period. And the thing is, like, it's like, Annie, if you know that he's not, there yet, why are you pushing it? Why are you pushing it? I'm pushing it because I know Keith can do it. That's the thing that people also have lost the plot of is you need people in your corner who know what you're capable of because they've seen it time and time again. And they've seen you push through it and you've come out stronger. And they know you to your core. And you need people who do not enable your settling, who do not enable your comfort. Okay? You need people who can celebrate you and enjoy the comfort together, but you need people to not let you sit in that because you are so much more than what you think you are. And when you're young, you don't know your full potential because when you're young and you've been around toxic environments, you really think low of yourself. You really, really do. And so you need an outside person's perspective of saying you're so much more than that. And I hate to see you give up on yourself, and I know that you are not a give upper. Okay? You think that I've been here for 7.5 years thinking that you a give upper? No. You think I put all my eggs in one basket because I thought that you were a give upper? No. And you think that I chose to put all my pigs in a basket because of potential? No. I've seen you pick yourself up at your lowest. I've seen you persevere through hell, just like me. So you think that I'm gonna let you settle in this pity party? No, that's not who we are. That's not what this is. We are together because we move through life the same. Okay? And it's a give and take. Okay? So I'm not gonna let you do this to you and to me and to us in our future and what we deserve and our potential. Okay? So if I need to look like the crazy one, if I need to look like the controlling one, if I need to look like the crazy lady, I don't give a fuck. Call me crazy because people will call me crazy, but they will respect me at the end of the day. And honestly, respect is more, for me, is more admirable than being liked. Okay? I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me, but you're gonna respect me. Because the shit that I do and how I do it, yeah, I do it with integrity and I do it with pure intentions. Every fucking time. Period. And so I was like, I'm not gonna let you. Because I know this is not you. Okay? You're just stressed right now. You can't even say that you're stressed. So I'm gonna just carry the weight and look crazy. And I was like, honestly, I've already saw it. I already know what it looks like. So honestly, we can just say that like we're engaged and we can just it will relieve you from the pressure of the engagement, okay? Because I know I set the bar high of the proposal, and I know that you're not a planner, and I know that I deserve the world and you want to give me the world and you feel like you don't have the world to give me yet, and I don't care because I still choose you at the end of the day. So, I'm fine with not going through a proposal because it's stressing you out and I don't want to stress you out. And I'm fine with putting all of the burden of the crazy lady image on me. I don't care. I really don't. And so he showed me the ring and we put it on, and then I was like, I don't want to take it off. And so how are we going to announce this to our friends and family? And so we sent this text message of our friends and family. We drafted it up together, and I was like, I always live in truth. Okay? I am going to be blunt about the truth of what happened, and it's because I was snooping around, but I also want Keith to have the ownership of doing that because this is his work in the sense of picking out the ring and committing to me. I mean, this is the man's moment, right? You can send it to everybody, you can get all the praise, then I can look like the crazy lady. And so I'll read you the text message or I'll just post it here or something. And we sent it to all of our friends and family in different group chats.
Good news, friends and family. As you know, Annie and I have been saving up for our wedding and we've been planning to do a proposal with loved ones around. For the past months, excitement has been growing as both of us are excited to take on the marriage life and continue our futures together. Recently, I was able to receive the engagement ring. Annie and I have full access to each other's phones, and with her phone skills, was able to find the ring and knew I picked it up. I honestly didn't know she knew about it, lol. I brought the ring home and we both played it cool, but the next day she told me she knew about it all. I was surprised, but also realized how truly excited we both are about getting married. Also, to add on, for the past month, Annie has been making paper rings and wearing them at home, lol. So, without the speech, we watched how beautiful the ring looked on her finger. We agreed to only wear the ring inside the house until I made a formal proposal at our engagement party. This agreement only lasted days since Annie can't take it off because it's so beautiful, not because it's actually stuck. So please consider this as our unofficial engagement. We'll have an engagement party where I'll formally propose to her with a full speech and bended knee. It'll take place in Seattle, and we'll let you know the date and time once confirmed. For those thinking we should have waited until the actual proposal, please watch this POV video of Annie. Rec- Watch this POV video Annie recorded of herself pointing at an imaginary menu, waving hello and talking with her hands. She's so excited. Love you all and thank you. Yeah, I'm like, baby, what's up, Pete? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, no, me. Yeah, no good. Yeah, yep. Knocking on the table, like pointing. Oh, I want this one. Wow, so beautiful.
And that's the truth of how we announced our engagement to our friends and family. It's the truth of the women experience. It's the truth of misogyny. It's the truth of living in a patriarchy. It's the truth of not having a great example for healthy love and being able to be authentically what we saw in our childhood and work through it and choose different and just also being a good friend. You need people to be like you need to remember who you are. Okay? You need to know you forgot who you are. This is who you are. And then people, believing that, be like, you know what? I am me. I am me. And people to stick around with you until you can build that confidence within yourself. And that's a lifelong journey. Life is cray cray. We get to the points where we self doubt and get insecure. And so we just need that village to kind of remind us that we've been that beach and we stood that beach. And so, by the way, Keith watches all of these before I post it. Keith is really my best friend, and so he watches through it all because I'm like, what? Look at this. Look at the video that I want to post, and I want your opinion, and I want your feedback, and I want what you think about it and what I can improve on. I really value his opinion and his insight, and so every single time that I'm talking about him, I make sure that he approves it before I post anything. Even things that are not even about him, just me expressing myself. I love to share that with him, and he loves to see it and read it, and I love to hear his feedback. So, yeah. That's why I can talk about our relationship so candidly and so openly. It's because we need more of that on the internet. We need more realness, and also because Keith and I have a really just great relationship and friendship to where we really are besties and we can just chit chat and get each other's feedback and all that. Because all the toxic stuff, like all of that is just, you gotta go through it. You know what I mean? That's just the truth of how you grew up. And if you just go through it and accept that, you can get on the other side of healthy. Okay? That's the thing. People don't want to face it. 'Cause people are in denial that they came from some shit ass background. Um, and sometimes it's shit, and then sometimes it's not as shit. Like Keith, yeah, it was a bit shitty, but mine was shittier. So it kind of gave him perspective of like, oh yeah, mine was kind of shit, but honestly, I had a lot of privilege. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, my shit was shittier than yours. It stank a lot more. Okay, and so you kind of teach people how to be grateful for the things that you have, even if you think it's shit. And my shit is like shitty, but my shit is not as shitty as other people. And that's the thing. That's why you gotta have these connections. You gotta make friendships. You gotta build a village to understand that shitty is not the shittiest, and you can be grateful for your shit. and still help each other grow from that. Anyways, so take what you need from this story, from my life experience, and the truth of how I'm navigating a healthy marriage with my high school sweetheart and the love of my life, Keith. So, thank you so much for watching, and you will see me next week. Bye!